The part of linguistics that is concerned with the structure of language is divided into 6 subfields. Phonetics, the study of speech sounds in their physical aspects. Phonology, the study of speech sounds in their cognitive aspects. Morphology, the study of information of words in units of language, such as suffixes and prefixes, in order to identify the differences between, for example, singular and plural or present and past tenses. Syntax is the study of the formation of sentences. All languages have underlying rules of syntax, and the order of words is not arbitrary. Semantics is the study of meaning, and pragmatics is the study of language use and context. Let's talk about language units. Phonemes is the basic unit of phonology. It is the smallest unit of sound that may cause a change of meaning within a language, but it does not have meaning by itself. Phonemes correspond to the sound of the alphabet, although there is not always a one-to-one relationship between a letter and a phoneme. Morpheme is the basic unit of morphology, and they're the smallest meaningful unit of language. Morphemes are prefixes and suffixes, and there's some morphemes that are individual words, such as eat or water. Lexemes are the set of inflected forms taken by a single word. For example, members of the lexeme run will include run, the uninflected form, running, inflected form, and ran. Another way to think about lexemes is that they are the set of words that would be included under one entry in a dictionary. So running and ran would be found under run. Words typically fall into one of the following major part of speech categories. Nouns denote words that depict some object or entity that could be living or non-living. Verbs are words that are used to describe certain action, states, or occurrences. There is a large variety of further subcategories like auxiliary, reflexive, and many more. Adjectives are words that describe other words, typically nouns or noun phrases. The phrase beautiful flower has the noun flower, which is described using the adjective beautiful. Adverbs usually act as modifiers for other words, including nouns, adjective, verbs, and other adverbs. And the phrase very beautiful flower has the adverb very, which modifies the adjective beautiful, indicating the degree of how beautiful the flower is. It is useful to annotate and tag words and then analyze them into their part of speech tags to see the major syntactic categories. Part of speech is the grammatical tagging or word category disambiguation, and it is the process of marking a word in a text with a particular part of speech based on both its definition and context. Note that there are many different conventions tagging words, for example, pantry bank, NLTK, or universal tags. The words can be further combined into phrases, and phrase can be a single word or combination of words based on the syntax and position of the phrase in a closer sentence. There are 5 major categories of phrases. Noun phrase, with a noun acting as the head word. It can be a subject or object in a clause. Verb phrase, with verb acting as the head word. Adjective phrase, adverbial phrase, and finally prepositional phrase. Phrases can be further combined and form clauses. By nature, clauses can act as independent sentences, or several clauses can be combined together to form a sentence. Clauses are groups of words with some relation between them, and they usually contain a subject and a predicate. Sometimes the subject may not be present, and by default you can classify clauses into 2 distinct categories: the main clause and the subordinate clause. The main clause is also known as independent clause because it can form a sentence by itself and act as both a sentence and a clause. The subordinate or dependent clause cannot exist by itself. It depends on the main clause for its meaning. There are 2 major varieties of syntactic annotation: a phrase structure, constituency, and dependency representation. In general, a phrase structure representation may be found more suitable for languages with rather fixed linear word order patterns and clear constituency structures. Dependency representations, in contrast, are found more adequate for languages which allow greater freedom of word order, and in which linear word order is controlled more by pragmatic than by syntactic factors. Another level of language structure is pragmatic. It is a study of the context-dependent aspects of meaning. Pragmatic aspects of meaning involve interaction between the context of sentence and the interpretation of elements within that sentence. And people use language to accomplish certain kinds of acts, broadly known as speech acts, and they're distinct from physical or mental events. We can have direct speech acts or indirect speech acts, when the actual meaning of the sentence, such as in the window is open, in fact has real intent, as imperative sentence, close the window. Natural language brings a lot of challenges to NLP tasks. Let's start with non-standard English. Can you identify potentially problematic talkings for NLP parsing? Segmentation issue. If you were a computer, how would you parse the New York-New Haven Railroad? Idioms. How would you identify what semantic meaning would you provide to these expressions? Neologism. Languages are constantly creating new words in the dictionaries. Word knowledge and entity names, they all can pose problem to the computer, but not to us, human beings. In summary, our NLP tasks cover several layers of language structure. We start with lexical analysis, meaningful units of language. We use part of speech tagging. Syntax or syntactic analysis. We look at how words are related in the sentence. We use parsing. Next step is semantic analysis. We're looking into meaning of the sentence. Pragmatic analysis. We're interested in the context of sentence or speech acts. And finally, discourse analysis. How sentences are connected, whether we're talking about old, given, or new information.